All right. Welcome to On Time Sports Talk. I am here this time with my co host. He is the original Eddie Schedule. I am the remix Casey Schedule, the better version, as we all know. But
I think I'm going to have to work on this writing of your intro here.
uh,
This better version thing.
the,
Just,
the,
I
right,
don't know how that gets past the editing.
the writers that we've hired are amazing. So,
Yeah, you, yourself, and you.
me, myself, and I, that's all we need right now. Um, all right. Well, attempt number two. Let's be honest with the folks. This is we recorded this already last week, but my mic wasn't recording. So we're praying to baby Jesus that it's working this time when we get out of this. But we're here
Oh,
to,
boy.
well, I,
Not the holiday of night.
8 pounds, 11 ounces. But we're here to have a little discussion. Probably going to disagree a little bit here. And I can't
Yeah,
believe that we're discussing this because we're both diehard Cowboy fans. Like you're from Dallas. I was born in Fort Worth, raised most of my time there. We're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys versus the Houston Texans right now, and what franchise is in a better situation right now. And when I brought up the topic, you kind of rolled your eyes, and I'm going to see if I can bring you to the dark side. I know there's someone in your household who would love to hear that, but I'm going to let you try to convince the people on why the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry and Stephen Jones, and the moves they're making or lack thereof puts them in a great position, better than what the Houston Texans have done. The floor is you, old wise one.
yes, great introduction. So the topic basically is which one is in a better situation going into next year. I still say the Dallas Cowboys are. And the reason I'm going to say that is because of consistency. We've seen how, first off, CJ Stroud, let's talk a little bit about the Texans. CJ Stroud is going into his second year after rookie season. And it has been proven many, many times that guys who light it up, including Dak, who lighted up that first year as a rookie season, the next year they have a big drop off. Now, some people would say, oh, well, they should improve. Well, you can look at guys like Trevor Lawrence and people like that. Of course, he didn't really have a great rookie season either. But the thing is, once they start to get film on you, they're able to scheme against what your supposed strengths are. My argument for why the Dallas Cowboys are in a better shape or in better shape going into next year is because consistency. Now, yeah, they've lost some people on the offensive line. Smith, the loss of Tyron Smith. It's Tyrone, right? Tyron
Yes.
Smith. I can never say people's first name right. I'm from Texas, so I mispronounce everything. But he has never played a full season. And I just think it was about time to move on just because he can't make it a full season. So let me get to the main part of why I say it's consistency. It's consistency in the fact that our offense was one of the best in the league. Our quarterback was in the MVP talk all the way to the end of the year. The one thing where I see where the weakness was on defense. Everybody wants to blame offense. To me, it was the defense. The defense could not stop teams from catching up. I mean, if you look at the Green Bay playoff game that the Cowboys played, Dak, what was it? 400 yards, right? Something like that.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, the defense still could not stop anything.
And they haven't done anything to do anything about it.
Well, they went out and got a linebacker. They got a good linebacker in the middle, and I understand a lot of people like Van Der Esch or whatever, but Van Der Esch once again, was a player who just was prone to injury. And unfortunately, because of Trent Edwards, I guess it is,
Trent Williams.
Trent Williams, I still think it was a dirty play. I think it ended Van Der Esch's career.
I agree.
But that's another subject for another day. But the bottom line is they needed someone at the linebacker position. Bringing in Kendricks, who's been with Mike Zimmer before, I think that creates another consistency. You're putting another veteran player out there. Mike has got a couple years under his belt. You still got D-Law out there. You'll get Trayvon Diggs back. Now they got to address the Gilmore situation, but I still see them as possibly bringing him back. But then again, you have Bland who stepped up, and even though Trayvon Diggs was out most of the year, Bland brought some consistency. So I think those two as corners, you're going to be fine. Obviously, losing Gilmore, you're losing that veteran in the backfield, but I just think that's one of the biggest things. So going back to why I say consistency puts them in a better place. You still have you're going to have a second-year coach in D'Amico Ryans. I like him. I like the guy. I think he's done well. But once again, being able to scheme, this is where the rubber hits the road, because coaches like McCarthy and these other ones who've been around for a long time understand that you can't go in with the same exact thing, because they're going to scheme against you, because now they have film where they didn't before. No one knew what D'Amico Ryans was bringing to the table last year, even though his offensive coordinator, his defensive coordinator were somewhat known. But the thing is I just think with a quarterback going into his second year, coach going into his second year, teams are going to be able to scheme against them better. For Dallas, I think bringing in Zimmer as a defensive coordinator, he's going to demand discipline. Dan Quinn, it's been proven. He's a good guy, great players guy, gets turnovers and all that. But when it gets down to the nitty gritty, he's already proved as a head coach, the debacle in the Super Bowl with Atlanta, that he just can't close the game out and shut them down. He doesn't make good adjustments at halftime, in my opinion. That's a big thing. Zimmer has proven he will demand discipline. They did not have that on defense. Discipline would have made them concentrate on the run, get up, bump these receivers. So there you go.
Discipline doesn't change the fact they're small in the middle, and they have another bust from Michigan until proven otherwise, named Ozzie Smith. So
it was his first year. And I mean, you can sit here and say, oh, Ozzie Smith didn't do it, but they didn't have a linebacker behind him. They didn't have anybody in the middle to stop. Once he got past, when Van Der Esch was in there, they were doing pretty good against the run, right? They were.
They were average.
Well, average is better than sucking, right?
I'm just going to say, I mean, Mike Zimmer's a good dude. I think he is a good defensive coordinator. I think he did a really solid job in Minnesota. But Dan Quinn, remember, he took over a defense that was one of the worst, if not the worst, historically in the NFL ever. And he turned that.
Yeah, but you're leaving out an important fact. When Dan Quinn came in, who else came in? Mike McCarthy. They came in at the same time.
Mike McCarthy ain't got nothing to do with that defense.
He had a lot to do with player personnel and bringing in Dan Quinn to run the defense. Well, so it wasn't just him.
We know that Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn are not bringing in player personnel. That's Will McClay, Stephen Jones, and Jerry Jones. And those are the two out of those three right there are why I think Cowboys are worse off. Because I noticed you didn't try to defend Jerry or Stephen because you can't. I know you can't. So I'm gonna address one of the things you said. You talked about a second-year quarterback. They normally don't do as well. They got tape. I got some examples here for you because I knew you were coming with this today. This is the advantage of doing this the second time. Second-year quarterback, MVP, Dan Marino, 1984. second-year quarterback MVP Kurt Warner, 1999. Patrick Mahomes, 2018, 50 touchdowns his second year. Lamar Jackson, MVP, second year. Joe Burrow gets to the Super Bowl his second year. So as many bust or bad second years as there are, Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl his second year. As many busts as there are, there's also examples of success. And I think CJ Stroud has that ability. All right. I'm not saying, I kind of went through and looked at Pro Football Focus rankings and some different stuff. Dak right now is a better quarterback. If you told me one game, give me Dak or CJ, I'm probably taking Dak. But long-term health, the future of a franchise that is starting today, I'm taking CJ Stroud. Because the biggest thing the Texans have in their pocket to build that team is
what did those guys you just brought up have in common?
They were all in their second year. That's what they had in common.
What else? What type of coaches did each one of them have? They had quarterback coaches. They had coaches that were known to help quarterbacks. Maybe not so much in Joe Burrow's case, but if you look at the coaches they had, Mahomes, all of them, they had coaches that helped them. I don't think, does anybody think DeMeco Ryans is a quarterback coach?
No, he's not. He's there for the defense and his leadership ability. So I think the head coach is a wash between these two franchises personally at the very moment. I think Nico, blah, blah, blah.
Well, you did not just say that you think the coaches is a wash when you've got a Super Bowl winning coach in the Cowboys.
Yeah, a Super Bowl winning coach like 10, 12 years ago with prime Aaron Rodgers. Come on.
So that's a washout to you. He's won 12 games consistently since he's been with the Cowboys. He had a winning record when he was with Green Bay. He coached Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and he didn't win a Super Bowl with Brett Favre. That was before his time. But the thing I say it's a wash, you look at what DeMeco did in his first year. It's
1 year. It's 1 year. How can you say that's a wash? Right. That's just.
I think it's a wash, personally. I think DeMeco is a better defensive coordinator than Mike McCarthy is an offensive coordinator, because that's really what he is. He's a glorified offensive coordinator. All right.
What?
But I'm gonna.
Was Dallas's offense in the top 5 last year?
I believe so.
And who was calling the play? It wasn't Keelan Moore, who went to Chargers. How'd that work out?
Man, you're right. You do suck at first names. His name is Kellen Moore.
Keelan. I call him Keelan because he was killing me.
Oh, that's ridiculous. But I'm going to get you a rating here in a second. But I'm going to go to my next point is, with the addition of Stephon Diggs, I think it is potentially the best receiving core in the NFL. And what they did to get his last 3 years off, basically got Stephon Diggs. I think we both agree he's one of the top wide receivers in the league. Now I think he's kind of getting toward the end of his prime, but he's still in his prime. But they got the last 3 years voided. So if he is a diva, if he is causing problems, they don't have to bring him back. And you pair him with Nico Collins, which most people don't realize. Nico Collins had, I believe, almost 80 catches, over 1,200 yards, and about 7 or 8 touchdowns last year. That's pretty number one receiver numbers from a rookie quarterback without much of a running game. So you add Nico and Stephon Diggs and Dalton Schultz, which we both like Dalton Schultz from him being in Dallas.
I don't like Dalton Schultz. I never liked Dalton Schultz.
You are.
I thought he drops key passes when you need him not to drop them. And he doesn't have that fire like Fergie has, like Ferguson has. He has a fire in his belly and gets in people's face. That's the type of tight end we need it. That's the type of person that brings the old Michael Irvin type stuff and Des Bryant type attitude. That's what we need. And I think you're going to see more of that as they start using Fergie.
Dalton Schultz can ball. Okay. But the Cowboys wanted to re-sign Dalton Schultz. They didn't know what they had in Jake Ferguson or Pendershot. Schoonmaker looks suspect as a draft pick. But you add
where do you come up with he looks suspect? He barely got in the games, and when he did, he caught the ball.
He didn't catch the ball very much. He didn't light it on fire.
Yeah, well,
I think you're
give him
this just to defend it now.
No, I think Dallas has 3 really good tight ends.
I think they have one really good one and some okay ones. But now I'm gonna go the defensive side for the Texans. Stingley was a top 10 cornerback last year. They have Will Anderson, who is I'm not going to say anyone is Micah Parsons, because Micah Parsons is on a different level. He's the best defensive player in the league. He gives you an advantage just being out there. But Will Anderson Jr. is a poor man's Micah Parsons, and he's ascending up. I think Will Anderson Jr. is going to be a top 5 defensive player in the league in the ilks of TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, Khalil Mack, those type of players, Nick Bosa. I think he's going to get there in the next 2 to 3 seasons. I don't know if he's going to be there next year.
See, this is where your argument falls short, because you're like, I think he's going to. I think it, because they haven't done it yet. Micah's done it. Micah has done it. Trayvon Diggs has done it.
Trayvon Diggs has
hurt. Bland did it.
You didn't know Bland could do it until he did it. Will Anderson Jr., I believe, was the rookie defensive player.
Everybody had talked about Bland before the season started, that he is a guy that has the potential and needs to step up, and that's what he did. But,
no one was saying that.
Yes, they were.
You better text me later with a list of names of people who are saying that, because I don't.
Because they were saying that because it was before we had got Gilmore. Because remember, we didn't have Gilmore at the end of that season 2 years ago. So they were like, who's going to step up? And it was Bland's name that constantly kept coming up.
So, but I'm going to stay on the defense here. They add Al Shahir, which I know you're probably not familiar with him, but he's with D'Amico in San Francisco, then went to Tennessee for a year, and then came to Houston this year. He's a solid, I'd say he's a Van Der Esch quality, if not a little better, linebacker. And then your favorite guy. Every time we play Madden, you trade for this dude. You love this guy, Danielle Hunter. They brought in Danielle, which, there's no denying he's a beast. So you add him and Will Anderson on the other side, and then you are that is a dynamic edge rush that you have problems that you got to deal with. Now, Texans, just like the Cowboys, got issues in the middle. All right. They got issues behind Stingley at corner, and they got issues at safety. But there is the draft. And I know the Cowboys are counting the draft.
But you want to talk about the Texans draft. Texans don't have a first-round pick. Their second-round pick isn't until number 42 and 59 in the second round. Dallas has a number 1 pick at 24.
Which they'll blow.
And then 56, which is still, once again, ahead of the Texans, except for 1 pick. The Texans, most of their picks are in the 4th, 6th, and 7th round, which you're telling me that they got to get lucky there, if possible.
I don't disagree with you that the Texans are in a vicarious draft position, but what they've done with Hunter, Diggs, Al Shahir, re-signing Schultz, already having Anderson and Nico Collins, and a quarterback on his rookie deal. Man, and this is a deep running. I know the Texans need a running back. This is a deep running back class coming in the draft too, which I know
that helps the Cowboys.
Well, I think that's going to help both these teams personally. So
Well, the Texans had a good running back.
Yeah, they let Singletary go.
Yeah, that's another
because they were rumored
you know.
they were rumored to be on the Saquon Barkley train, which that didn't happen. Obviously, that went to a team we can both mutually
See,
hate, the Eagles.
yes, and that's another team that I would say look at the Eagles and look at how they put all of these stars in place. How has that worked out? Now they got to the Super Bowl, but the thing is they didn't win it.
Well, I think that's a different subject for a different day, but it just I'll tease it a little bit. I guess is the Eagles are trying to recapture what they had, and that's going to be a struggle for them. But like I said, different subject, different day. But at the end of the day, the way the Texans are ran from the McNair family down, I mentioned this last time. I got forwarded the opportunity to kind of go behind the scenes a couple weeks ago, and just the feeling in the building from all the employees, from everyone I met, it's just different. And when you got like Dalton Schultz, which I know you don't like, but he's talking about the difference of like how the weight room is at the Star versus in the Texans facility. The weight room is a sideshow.
This is why I don't like Dalton Schultz, because he's like, it was so much pressure. Somebody was watching me. I was under so much pressure. Now I can just relax and lift my weights and comb my mustache. So I don't have that pressure. I could concentrate on football, because before I didn't concentrate on football.
Why the heck you got to attack the man's mustache? You're just mad because he wears it better than you.
That's why. Whatever, dude. No, he doesn't. He looks like a 70s porn star, and he needs to get rid of that crap.
Hey, we're trying to get a deal here. You can't be saying P star on the air. Anyways, I think the team is in a better position. We started with the quarterback situation. CJ Stroud on a rookie deal versus Dak, who is going to count, unless they get a deal done, he's going to count $60 million versus the cap. He's on a 1-year deal. Your entire coaching staff is on a 1-year deal. If the Cowboys don't get it done, and I mean done as NFC Championship game or bust, I think they're going to blow it up. I think you say Stephen Jones is in charge. You said that last time. You ain't mentioned them very much this time. Probably smart on your part. But Jerry Jones don't want to blow it up. He's too old. He's in his 80s, right? So Will McClay and Stephen Jones better get this draft right, and they better get lucky with some teams cutting some guys, because that's what they've always done, is they pick up the Dante Fowlers of the world and guys like that end up doing a good job for them. I'll give Dallas credit where credit is due. They've normally picked up some veteran free agents later in free agency that have filled their roles solidly. But I don't know if it's going to work out this time. And here's the thing. You know what team I'm watching every Sunday. You know what jersey I'm wearing. We go watch it together half the time. I'm a Cowboys fan. I can't believe we're talking about this. The Houston Texans, are you kidding me? If Angie is sitting behind you, she would be laughing her butt off right now, because this is a ridiculous conversation for Cowboys fans to have, but it's a legitimate question. And
by the way, Angie is my wife, just so you guys know.
Yeah. Well, we are new to this. We haven't introduced everyone in our lives yet, but so
yeah. Well,
and she's a diehard Texans fan, by the way. So he lives in a house divided. All right. So,
it's. I just think it's about consistency, and everything you do, it's about consistency. Now, they have to get over the hump, but I think the change to me, the problem was defense. It was defense. Dak had so many games where he busted his rear at why he was in MVP talk to win games. And then the defense goes out there and acts like they're asleep at the wheel.
Well, I'm going to agree with you that I don't think Dak is the issue. I think Dak is a Super Bowl capable winning quarterback. 100%. I don't think they should get rid of Dak. I don't anyone considering that, I think, is a fool. Um, but just the contract situation, how they fumbled it last time and the situation they're in and moving forward, I just like the situation and the feeling and the aura. If I was applying for a job right now and you gave me the job with the Dallas Cowboys description on the top and the Houston Texans description on the top on this side, I'm picking the Houston Texans because I don't want to work in the building with Jerry Jones or Steven Jones right now, and I probably just cost myself any future employment possibilities just now with with that franchise, if ever. Uh, but you got to kind of ask yourself, someone asked me one time, it was during a presidential race. I'm not going to say which one, but he goes, ask yourself this. And this was 10, 12, 15, 20 years ago, whatever it was. He goes, who would you rather sit down and have a beer with? This guy or this guy? If you're in the middle, let that be your deciding factor. If I wanted a job, which franchise do I want to work with? And you and me have been, partially behind the scenes with the Dallas Cowboys before. I got to do 5 color guards for them when I was in the Navy. We got to see how they ran. I did get to tour the facility when it was still at Valley Ranch. It was a really cool experience and very appreciative of it. But right now, if I'm applying for a job, give me the Texans. If I'm putting money on a quarterback for the next 15 years, give me Stroud. I said 15. I didn't say 5. Let's keep that in mind. But
Yeah, well, if we're talking about having a beer, I'm gonna sit down with Jerry because I got some shit to tell him.
Well, I figured,
and I'm gonna listen to his demented crap that he says and retort every single thing he said. So it's gonna be Jerry that I'm gonna have a beer with.
There's no doubt that sitting down with Jerry Jones versus McNair would be more entertaining. There's no doubt. Just like right now, if you said, "Hey, who would you rather sit down and have a beer with, Trump or Biden?" I'm gonna have a beer with Biden because I'd be laughing hysterically the whole time. So, I mean, that's just kind of how I see that one. But so, all right, I think you got anything else you want to throw out there? I think we're a little more efficient with our time this time.
Well, we'll see. Cowboys played the Texans this year, so
I guess we'll see that. And I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan. This isn't me turning over to the dark side or anything. Just trying to be objective on my side. Because when I was looking at it, I was like, I think this is a legitimate question and something that can be a pretty interesting topic. So if you are watching this, comment on the video, share it out, debate it. We'll respond to you and see which franchise kind of you think is the best. And so it's at On Time Sports Talk. And in case anyone's confused about the name, I wanted to explain this is our last name is Schedule. So we keep the schedule. We're always on time. So that's where the play comes from in case anyone couldn't figure that out. So shout out to my normals, Tel Valhalla, repping the Don't Give Into the War Within in Veteran Suicide, Mission 22, Camp Hope as well. And so yeah, I think that's all I got. But
all right.
So
well, it's been fun. It's been real. But the bottom line is Cowboys are gonna have a better record.
All right. Well, I'm just glad you put a little makeup on the top of your head today. It's not as shiny.
And you're just lucky that I found you a bloodline that kept hair.
Yes.
You owe it all to me. Because like I said, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
You're gonna resort to that crap. That's payment for the remix. The remix is all better.
Yes. Because at the end of the day, I'm your daddy.
You just had to go there on air. That's embarrassing and genius on your part at the same time. But all right. Well, we're gonna sign off. Hope y'all enjoyed it. On Time Sports Radio. We'll pick our next subject and get something to you here soon. And I may do a solo one, or he may do a solo one. I don't know. I know the national championship just wrapped up, the girls today. Congratulations to South Carolina. I was kind of hoping Caitlin Clark would pull that out, but didn't happen for Iowa. So, but y'all take care. Peace. Love y'all.
Peace.